May the 27th, time is moving along. As I said to a workshop I was in today at Brain Fitness Academy, is the time is just moving faster than we seem to think the clock can hold it back. May 27th, Friday, another weekend. We have Memorial Day on Monday. But I wanted, as I promised, I was going to talk to you about the Wednesday evening session we did at a club up in Holly Hill, Florida called Pictona. And it's a racquetball pickleball, excuse me, it's a pickleball with the pickleball rackets and wiffle ball type materials that I'm just finding fascinating, and how active it is and how engaged the people, the members are that come to it. They have croquet courts out there and horseshoes. They have a garden, I learned. They have a garden that the residents are able to go out and plant different things, from flowers to vegetables and things. It's just a fascinating place. I got to learn more about the concept. We had a chance to have dinner there. We had some healthy salads and smoothies and things. It's just got it packaged together. All the things that we talk about in terms of long-term brain fitness all seems to be packaged right here in this club that's expanding as more and more people have joined, and the club is expanding. So from pickleball to nutritional habits to exercise routines to classes that they put on, of which we're one of them, and we're talking about brain fitness. So it kind of fits in where the people that are attending our workshop realize that there's more to their body's health than just the physical aspects of it, that there's an aspect called brain fitness, and there's a lot of people there very interested in the program being sponsored by Advent Health that talks about brain fitness as well. And so this week's group, really interactive. Michael did a fantastic job on the 6 factors of brain fitness. And as we went through each of the factors, there was a lot of interesting questions and dialogue. So for example, the first factor he went through was nutrition, right? And we know that nutrition is important, and the balance of fats and proteins and carbs are extremely important. I talked earlier this week about the difference of brown fats and white fats that are just coming out of research of Harvard Medical School. And so the questions on nutrition were just coming at us fast and furious. And here was the key around it. A couple of the members said, gee, I've read this article that basically said this report on nutrition is not accurate. And so there were several people that were bringing up the point that they're reading conflicting reports on nutrition. And if there's one thing that I would have to say, is nutrition is one of those variants or variables that seems to change about every 6 months. There are new advices on nutrition. And so at one point in our life, we were told not to have fats. And then it got clarified to, well, we only have certain fats. And now we're finding out, well, we have brown versus white fats. And so the audience was concerned about, okay, what do we believe as it relates to nutrition? And Michael was able to really pull all of that down from a number of different people telling you what they read and their concerns, and who do you trust and who do you go and believe. And Michael was able to walk through the sources of information that he utilizes and the approvals that he's gotten on the nutritional piece that he does in the 6 elements of brain fitness. So that was an active part. Now, that was the first module, and that probably took twice as long as any of the other modules for people to get through and stop asking their questions, or participate in asking their questions. I think it was fabulous, and their questions, I think, were spot on, and it raises the same points that I raise. I can't tell you how many times I read an article on nutrition, and I go back and say, well, wait a minute, this periodical said this and this one said that. I mean, they both can't be right because they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. So nutrition is a bouncing ball, but I think we've got some core elements on proteins and fats and carbs that I think pull it together, that at least we can feel are fairly stable and safe. Then we got to exercise. We talked about the importance of exercise, and there we go again. We had some really good questions, and one that I really hit me really well, and I really hadn't thought about this, right? And then some people, well, this is kind of crazy, but here it was. I work out in a gym, and you're telling me about the importance of exercise, and you also told me that oxygen was extremely important to our brain. So I work out at a gym and I'm next to a couple of people, or if I travel and I work out in a hotel gym, it's got two um, treadmills and a couple of ellipticals, and I'm in a confined space. We're all sweating and we're all perspiring and we're all breathing. Are we putting carbon dioxide into the air, and therefore are we doing more damage to ourselves and bringing in more carbon dioxide? And are we getting the right amount of oxygen back into our bodies? Or should I just go find a place to go run outside that's not along a highway and that's not having a lot of automobile traffic and truck traffic? Should I just go find a place in the park and go run outdoors? And so I thought about that, and I'm like, wow, what a thought process in terms of it and oxygen, and whether it's pure oxygen or whether we're putting carbon dioxide, and we're in a confined space. So obviously it says, wow, you want to look at gyms that, the fitness clubs that's got the high ceilings and ventilation that's pulling all of the circulation back out and bringing back oxygen, because the purpose of us running is to help the oxygen flow within our body. The brain is using up about 20% of it, and we want to make sure we're getting the best oxygen. That's the fuel that keeps us going in our creativity and our health and our brain fitness. So that was an interesting question. I got to do a little bit more research on that, but the initial answer is obviously if you are in a confined space, I think you're going to have more of an impact. There was a study I was going to be a part of that was going to do exactly that, and that study didn't get off the ground. So it already had raised some of those questions, was hoping to give us some of the answers, and the study didn't get off the ground as well as it should have. So a great dialogue, and then we got to sleeping, right? And the big question was, okay, this notion of sleeping, cleaning out the toxins in our body. Well, how do we know if we're getting that deep level of sleep that cleans out the toxins? And somebody said, well, we have Fitbits, right? And we now have Fitbits that look at the oxygen while we're sleeping, and well, do we all need to go run out and buy Fitbits? And so that generated a lot of interesting dialogue, which I, again, this is a group of people on it, they engaged. It was an interactive workshop, a lot of great dialogue. And so what's the answer to that question? Well, as Michael was saying, is the most important thing is when you wake up in the morning, first of all, you need an alarm clock to get yourself out of bed. So is that the thing that's waking you up every day? It's probably not the right way to measure if you're getting the right amount of sleep. Second of all, they wanted to know, well, I want to make sure you're telling me I got to get this deep sleep to clean out the toxins. How do I know I'm getting that deep sleep? And that's how we get back to, well, are you getting up feeling like you're up and alert, and you're getting up from your natural rhythms, the circadian rhythms that we process? And he talked about that, and they were fascinated by the natural body's rhythms, and whether you get to bed late at night and get up early, and what time should you get to bed. And so there was a lot of active conversation around that. And boy, that was another interesting piece of dialogue, where I think we left people with the importance of, you need to get 7 at the age that you're in when you're a sleep senior, or when you get past 50. You need to get your 7 or 8 hours of sleep, and it needs to be restful sleep. And so we talked about, so what are things that you should do before you go to bed? And one clearly that everybody laughed and agreed on is, it's not a good thing to watch the news. Our news today is not conducive to a good night's sleep. And so the second thing is do something that's fun and not stressful. So some people said they like to read, and that's okay if you're reading for enjoyment. Some people talked about doing crossword puzzles or Sudoku puzzles. And again, if you're doing that in a peaceful, non-stressful way, not a bad thing. So that was at least part of our night. I can go on and on. I might pick that up again next week. We got our session 3 coming up next week, where we talk about social relationships and how do you build the skill of remembering names and faces of people you're meeting at the club, so that you build new friends and you build new social relationships. So that'll be our session next week, and I look forward to it. It's been a lot of fun. We've really enjoyed it. We have a great ride going up, and even a better ride coming back, talking about the evening. So with that, it's Friday night. Monday is Memorial Day, so have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.